Hey, good morning. I'm Frank Spillers.
And I'm Kim Spillers.
And she's in a secure location right now.
That's right.
We are.
Yes, it's a snow day for us.
Yeah.
Two separate places.
Snow day. Everybody gets to stay home, and we get to stay home, and we work from home. So it's snowing outside. We're working inside. But today on Rural Community Solutions, we're going to be talking about healthy community, healthy people, healthy brain, healthy gut. What does all that have in common, and what can you do about it? Because it does affect your community greatly. So stay tuned, and we'll be back talking about health. Picture, if you will, the pure, raw prairie. No wires, no fences, no roads, not even a farmhouse. No sign of civilization. This is what a person saw that was crossing the prairie in a wagon more than 170 years ago. They jumped off the wagon, looked around, and declared, "This is where I want to settle and build a town. A great place to live and a great place to raise my family." So they took a risk. They built a house made out of the land, planted food to eat, and cared for the land. Then they wrote back to their friends where they came from and described the great opportunity and promise that they have found. They invited who they knew to join them in their discovery, people they had a relationship with, and so they came, family by family, and those families invited others they knew who they wanted to live with within that community. The communities grew because the needs of the families grew, so entrepreneurs started businesses to meet those community needs. Ice houses, broom factories, general stores, and many other types of sole proprietor entrepreneurial businesses started up within the community. All of our communities across this country, all around the world, were started in this way, with a vision of the future and a plan to grow with people. And grow with people we will, but we're going to grow with healthy people. And as you can see, we're separated, and so Kim is actually 85 miles to the east of me.
Yep, today. Yep, I'm at my mom's house, so I'm so grateful that you have joined us. So I'm Kim Spillers.
And I'm Frank Spillers, and this is Rural Community Solutions TV live stream. And Rural Community Solutions helps design family-friendly, youth-centered places for communities to attract people. But it's also, how do you make a great environment that people want to live, work, and play, where you live, work, and play? And so all of our shows and all of our processes here at Rural Community Solutions are geared towards creating an environment that attracts the people that you want, whether you're a community, whether you're a business, an organization, whatever it is. And so making healthy communities and creating a healthy relationship with your communities is one of our processes and one of our goals that we have. And so as we do that and we look at what makes healthy communities and what makes that, we look at four pillars that we have: relationships, engagement, collaboration, and entrepreneurship. And when we take those four pillars to build great organizations, to build great communities, you put those together, and when you have great relationships and great engagement, you build trust within your communities. And trust is what we really need to build back into our communities these days, because we have a lot of division, we have a lot of divisiveness of people that are there, and how can we build back civility into those communities? And when you have relationships and you have collaboration, as we define collaboration, we're not going to get into that, but healthy collaboration, you start to build unity. When you have collaboration and engagement, you make great policy. You put those three pillars together with the fourth entrepreneurial pillar of creativity, you build wealth within your community. You build entrepreneurial wealth within your community that attracts people that you want to have in your community. People that want to live with trust, with unity, with great policy in your community that can help them become what they want to become. It's family friendly, it's youth centered, that help attract people that want to live within your community.
In January, people typically start thinking about, how can I make this year better? Often we think of our health. And so what we have decided to do is dedicate the rest of the month, so through January 29th, every single show is going to be dedicated to an aspect of health. Why that matters is that healthy people make healthy communities. That matters to your community in a whole range of ways, from safety to educational achievement, to how you literally feel, your healthcare costs, your county supervisors, how your dollars are dispersed, what categories in which they're spent. So that's how we are going to loop this all together for the rest of the month. And so we're going to start today by introducing the Broken Brain series. And we have a few slides for you. Today is going to be just a 30,000 foot level view, and then the rest of the month we're going to pick apart these different pieces so that we can help you identify how to feel better yourself and how that impacts your community.
And one of the things we want to tell you is that when you start to build a healthy community, the place that you need to start is what you're looking at in the mirror. When you start to build a healthy community, you can't look outside of you. You can't look out of here. You have to look inside first. And once you start on the inside, then the outside starts to change. So you're changing your perspective just a little bit of how do you start to build that healthy community. And it's not just by building an exercise trail. It's not just by building a YMCA or
wellness center.
Yeah, a recreational center, a wellness center, that type of thing. It is about building you first. And the other things are important because that creates community, but it is looking at you first. And so we want to build that healthy brain and a healthy gut as you go through that. And so we're going to be using a lot of things from Dr. Mark Hyman. And Dr. Mark Hyman is a physician who also runs the functional medicine portion of the Cleveland Clinic. And so Dr. Hyman wrote a series called the Broken Brain series. And a lot of our information that we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days will be from the Broken Brain series, from Creating an Ultra Mind. Okay. And so this information, we're not doctors, and we're not putting out there medical information. What we are doing is putting out there some information that we have learned from Dr. Hyman, but you need to take care of your own health. You need to consult your doctor. You need to not change anything medically that you are doing. What you want to do is just take this information and research it yourself, look at it, follow it, and see what happens. And so understand, we aren't doctors. We're not
the medical profession at all.
We're not giving out any medical information for you to do other than educational purposes, for you to take what you want, research it yourself, talk to your family physician, your own personal physician, and then move towards making yourself a healthy person.
Now, along those lines, Dr. Hyman, in this workbook in the beginning, we didn't make a slide for this, but Dr. Hyman is real clear. He is a physician, but he says, and I'm just going to quote this because it's so powerful. He says, in medical school, I was given the wrong roadmap for disease. He was given the ability to diagnose thousands of diseases and assign pharmaceutical treatments, but the approach he has learned over the course of his career that approach does little or nothing to treat the underlying causes of disease. So he has taken the route of what's called functional medicine, which he says is the biggest revolution that medicine has seen in the last 100 years. What that allows Dr. Hyman and other functional medicine practitioners to do is to develop personalized treatments based on specific imbalances in our body that cause all disease. The other thing that he says that's really, really super important, a couple of things that he says, is that conventional Western physicians often are looking in the wrong place. They're looking in like for brain abnormalities, they're looking in the brain. That's the wrong place, he says. The place to start is in our bodies. Brain problems start in our bodies. And he says when what we do to heal our bodies heals our brains. And he said also is that when we rebalance our body systems, it rebalances our brain, and our brain can actually heal. And it doesn't take years. Often you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck with this for the rest of my life. But he says, and these are his words, you can use these 7 keys to an ultra mind and you'll achieve it in a matter of weeks. So if that sounds appealing to you, stick with us the rest of the month and we will give you some tips on what you might be able to do.
Now, Kim mentioned some brain problems, and this is what Dr. Hyman says, that the brain problems can manifest themselves in different ways. And so we'll get to the 7 keys towards the end of the show. So stay with us of those 7 keys. But looking at what Dr. Hyman has said, that the brain manifests itself in some radical different ways. This is what happens. And this is what happens to your brain when you're not feeding your gut properly, and you get depression. You can have anxiety, you get OCD, it's bipolar, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, Asperger's, Parkinson's, other neurological psychotic disorders. That's a huge list of what the medical profession and what people are starting to go through. And so what Dr. Hyman has said is that many of these disorders can be treated or avoided just by feeding your gut what your gut wants. Now, everybody's not built the same. Everybody doesn't have the same genetics, and everybody doesn't have the same type of build. And so a lot of this can be different. So please consult your own physician, but also consult your own diet. You know what your body is reacting. Your body talks to you, and will tell you what it can do. Now, how big is this problem? Look at this, and this is why we are so, passionate about building healthy communities, along with building a healthy economy in your rural community and building a healthy relationships. But it's also building a healthy community physically, because you start to expend dollars in healthcare costs. You start to expend dollars in other aid given to, say, your elderly, if you're a retirement community, or your school. It will affect children's brains as they study. We're going to go through all of this, of what it can do educationally, what it can do for your school system. But this is just more than economic development. This is how to build a healthy community through healthy people that will help your community grow. And here's some of the problems that these are some of the statistics that Dr. Hyman has gathered over that 26% of our adult population have psychotic disorders.
Psychiatric.
20% of our children have some type of psychiatric disorder. 40 million people have anxiety. 20 million people have depression. 1 in 10 or 10% of Americans take an antidepressant. Now, this is staggering. This is how this has affected your diet, has affected the brain. Okay, Alzheimer's disease will affect 30%. Some experts say 50% of people over 85 years old, which is the greatest and fastest growing segment of this country. It's over 85, right? ADHD is a label that we now give to 8.7% of our children between 8 and 15. 1 in 10 children now take a stimulant medications like Ritalin. Autism rates have increased from 3 in 10,000 children to 1 in 166 children. That's an 11-fold increase. Over the last decade, learning disabilities affect between 5 and 10% of school-age children. And so as we look at this, we're starting to look at what do we eat? What are we putting into our gut? And Dr. Hyman even calls our gut our second brain. So we actually have two brains, our gut brain and our regular brain, and each of them feed each other. So not only do our thoughts, words, and deeds go into our physical brain, and that's our nutrition for the mind, but it's also what type of nutrition do we need for our physical gut that is also our second brain.
It is really simply staggering. The autism rates for children, I'm speechless at what has happened there. So to me, if that is an 11-fold increase in the last decade, to me that talks about maternal nutrition and what mommies are feeding themselves while they are pregnant that is impacting that baby as it's growing through all the food it's getting through the umbilical cord. So there's just a whole slice of that. Anybody who's on the spectrum or has a child or knows someone who's on the spectrum knows how challenging that can be. And we're not talking Downs. We're talking anybody whose child has some sort of a learning disability. And it just makes an enormous difference to the family life and to the community life. And that one just really captures me. So what we have, and again, we are simply going to give you the list right now of what Dr. Hyman, Hyman, what he says are the 7 keys to an ultra mind. So key number 1 is optimize your nutrition. That's pretty self-explanatory. What we eat makes a difference to how healthy our bodies are. Number 2 is to balance your hormones. That's a whole nother place that we will go off. But your hormones make a big deal to how well your body functions and how well your mind operates. Number 3, cool off inflammation. Inflammation is when our system gets over and underactive. It can cause a whole huge range of chronic diseases. So he says that if you have a broken brain, it is almost certainly an inflamed brain. Key number 4 to an ultra mind is to fix your gut. We're going to talk about digestion and assimilating your food and allergens and how any kind of a breakdown is going to create a problem for us. Key number 5 is to enhance detoxification. Every month I do a 10-day detox. I'm part of a group who does that. So detoxifying, giving our bodies a little bit of a break, being more intentional about what we put into our bodies, even for 10 days a month, can really make a difference in how well our bodies process that food. Key number 6 to an ultra mind is to boost your mitochondria. Mitochondria are the cells. It's going to go way down into the very tiniest little pieces of our bodies. We have to feed them healthy food in order for our bodies to operate optimally. And the last one, number 7 to an ultra mind, Dr. Mark Hyman says, is to calm your mind. Meditation. We use tapping. There's all kinds of different ways that we just sitting and looking out at the sky, different ways that we can help to just take a break from what we're doing during the day to address whatever stress may have built up and just take a breather. So those are the 7 keys Dr. Mark Hyman has identified as keys to the ultra mind. And in a matter of weeks, if we attend to those 7 keys, we can see vast changes in our body and in our brain function.
But starting with that calming mind, I wish you would have kind of flipped those, because I feel that the calming of the mind is the start of where you need to go, because of how your mind thinks really will affect down to your cellular level. What you think about affects your cells, and it's that really the mind body connection, that what comes in here affects who you are and your physical health. And in this day and age of COVID, with the stress over, am I going to get COVID? Is my loved one's going to get COVID? What's happening with a business? What's happening with my job? How can I feed my family? We went over some of those stressor points yesterday, but here, 70% of all Americans, from the American Psychological Association, 70% of all Americans are concerned about where their basic need is going to come from. That is your food, your housing, what's going to be happening to that. Also, 74% are really worried about their family. Will my family get COVID? And that is a stressor. That is sitting right here. And we talked about the fight or flight in your amygdala yesterday, about where that memory and where that thought process is stored in your brain. And when it's stored in your brain, it's emotional to your body, because whatever happens, the event is stored, that memory is stored, and your body reacts to the memory of that emotion. So your body reacts to the emotion of a memory of an event that could have happened a long, long time ago, but your body reacts to it as if it just happened. And that reaction of how your body reacts to it affects your cells, affects everything within your body. And that's what causes heart disease. That's what causes a whole host of other diseases. And so calming your mind and using some technique to calm your mind, to bring yourself back to the present, but then to handle that emotional stress, and get that emotional stress out of your system, then starts to heal your body. When you couple that with eating the right nutrition and eating the right foods and having a process to calm your mind, the results are amazing with what you can do and to heal your body and to create a healthy environment for your body to grow up in.
We've heard a number of experts over the years and a number of physicians talk about, and a number of people who work in the energy sphere talk about disease. If you take that word apart, it's dis-ease. Just means that there's something that's not at ease in your body. And so what we can do is, if we think about stress, if we just start with stress has to manifest itself somehow. If we do use some calming your mind and meditative techniques, some method, maybe going out and having a really hard tennis game or something, some way to get that stress out of your body. If you don't address that stress, it's going to manifest itself. And that's where disease comes from. It's not that it's so much that an organ has broken down necessarily. And remember, we're not doctors, but this is what we've heard from medical professionals, that stress manifests itself in heart disease or diabetes or strokes. We showed a list yesterday on the show of all the different potentials, and it wasn't exhaustive, but it's a list of some pretty common things. So if we deal with stress and we feed our bodies well and we get good exercise, we just take care of ourselves, we're going to minimize the possibility that we're going to maximize the possibility that we stay well during our lives. that makes a big difference to individuals, to families, to businesses, and then to communities. So there's our connection. We who do economic and community development, health, healthy community, healthy people make healthy communities. And so this is a really big deal. And that's why we're choosing this to be the focus the rest of the month for Rural Community Solutions.
And so if you want to know more, you can email us at frank@ghorizons.com or kim@ghorizons.com and let us know how you're doing. Let us know any questions that you might have. You can also comment below on our YouTube channel at Rural Community Solutions TV. That's our YouTube channel, or our Facebook page at Rural Community Solutions. Comment. You can direct message us. Get us a comment if you want. You can contact us if you want to go further and deeper into creating your healthy body and your healthy environment. Give us a call, and we have processes that are set up that we can help you in the long term create a healthy nutrition program and a healthy mind program also. It's all about how do we create that great environment. This is specifically important for kids because kids between the ages of 0 and 6, those neurons are connecting, and your children, the children that are in your environment, are learning how to become people through you, through the environment they're growing up in, because what they observe, what they feel, what they're experiencing through their 5 senses is connecting the neurons in their brain that will be connected for the rest of their life. You are actually creating and programming them to have their personality and to have their habits and to have their belief system in what the world actually is. And so that's why we ask you to, whenever you make a decision, ask yourself, how will this decision affect kids? Because that's the environment that they are growing up in. So healthy people make healthy communities, will help children grow up in a healthy environment that they will continue on the culture of your community. So stay with us as we go through healthy communities, healthy people for the next couple of weeks. Anyway, next week we'll be talking about nutrition. We'll be talking about the Tower Garden. That's going to be a cool event. You'll want to come back and watch that because you can grow healthy food 12 months out of the year. It's a blizzard outside where I'm living, but downstairs in our sunroom, we are growing fresh produce that I'm just going to go pick off the tower and make my salad today because it's snowing outside and I don't want to go shovel. So this is it's blowing, it's snowing, it's there, it's that. I'm going to go have a healthy salad that I didn't go to the store. I am just going to pick it off my tower. So it's going to be fun. So
Absolutely.
And on behalf of, you wanted to say something? I'm sorry.
I do, actually. I want to make sure that on Monday, we just give a chime out that Dr. Ardith Gillespie is going to be with us on Monday. Dr. Gillespie has had her career spent at Cornell University in New York. She is going to join us, and she is going to talk about food security, food insecurity, nutrition, and how that is an impact and a concern for communities. So on Monday's show at 11:30 Central, we'd love to have you join us and hear what Dr. Gillespie has to say about food security and whether or not that might be something you need to look at or think about or address in your community.
And Dr. Gillespie is not a medical doctor, but she's a doctor that has spent her career as a research scientist in nutrition. So she has studied community nutrition aspects, and she's going to be talking about accessibility for healthy food in rural America. So stay tuned with us. Come back at 11:30 a.m. Central Time right here at Rural Community Solutions TV live stream, Monday through Friday. We are so appreciative that you're with us, that you support us, and that you're learning from us. Make sure you make a comment below, but more importantly, tell your friends. We'd love to have them also. So I'm Frank Spillers.
And I'm Kim Spillers. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Be sure you make great choices for yourself, your family, and your community.
Bye, all. We'll see you next week.
Take care.